I got 3 minutes.
County Road 19 goes through some Daigle land, and I don't know where that would be.
Daigle's are up in mine.
Yeah, this is a different, I think this is
A different Daigle?
J-O-N, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's scary.
You know, it's kind of like a bunch of houses like there. Yeah. I can understand why they talk that kind of shit out.
So when you get hit when you're backing out of the driveway, is that kind of situation?
Hopefully not backing out, but it's probably.
It's hard to see around
Do we have any indication that these folks will show up?
We haven't heard otherwise.
Well,
Okay.
John's probably at school today, right? I heard he was.
Yeah, he's away for each year. Yeah, we don't. We've heard through the grapevine, but we send the letters out and ask them to let us know if they can't make it. We haven't heard anything.
So,
Right here?
right where you're doing.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
He has some game fish and land that they want to swap with the actual game fish. That's what this was all about. Kind of a land swap with game fish and park. So. 1 o'clock? I got,
Yep, you're right.
1 o'clock. It's 1 p.m., April 10th, 2018, and we will open up the Cottington County appeals hearing, and we'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Shauna, you want to lead us?
Would love to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item is action to approve the agenda.
Make that motion.
We have a motion by Hatton, a second by Van Duzen. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Action on appeals, we would take the appeals in the order that they come, are on listed here, and we would do that this evening as well. And we have 2 of them, the Myers and the Reeves, and neither one of them are here at this particular time, so we will move on, and if they do come in, we will back up and take them as they show up. You'll have to give me a way which one is here. I don't know if I know either of these parties. I may or may not. Okay, let's go on then to number 4, action on stipulations.
There should be a stipulations tab, page of your book.
Got her.
Yeah, the red light's on. Troy, it's on.
What's that? Yeah. If it, yep.
All right. Stipulations are basically when the property owner appeals to us, we always look into that property, see if we can find any justification on our side to be able to lower that value. Some of them were just referred to us from a local board, so long as we just did not get into it during the reappraisal. And so then they call us up and we go back through, and then we ended up lowering their value. Curtis and Laura Mollengrath. The board, Kranzberg board, referred them to us because they are surrounded on 3 sides by a junkyard. And so we gave them a location adjustment because of that. Darlene Wagner, basically Lyle Jockart, had come in and was talking about some permanent acres of water. This year we got the okay from the Department of Revenue to go ahead and change some of our soil types around the lakes that we know that are probably not going to dry up within the next 20-30 years, and we got permission to change those soil types to actual permanent water from what they were. So that's why that one was down. And then we had Amber Christensen. She's actually got a property in Henry Village. And then David and Leslie McElhaney have a 4-plex out in Florence, and we lowered them compared to what other similar houses were valued at.
Did I miss Steve Solom?
He's the very
Steve
first one.
Solom, it's a rental house, and we didn't get in when we did the reappraisal.
Yep.
And after we got the assessment, he got a hold of the renter, and we went in and redid that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the stipulations.
We have a motion to approve the stipulations. Is there a second? By Gable. Any discussion? Any questions on any of these?
Shauna, just on the last one there, David and Leslie McElhaney, it says market analysis. Can you explain that?
What we do anytime, and you guys will see this later tonight, when somebody comes in and they appeal their property, we try and find comparable sales that show or can justify that that value's there. They had built a new garage, and I can't remember off the top of my head when it was, 2009. So it added an extra $20,000, $30,000 to their assessment. And when we looked at the rents that he was getting versus the rents that they were getting in South Shore and other ones in Henry, his value was higher because of this newer garage, and none of them had garages. But since they were getting this same amount of rent, that garage wasn't really adding that much value, and so we took most of that value off.
Good question, though. That's the kind of things that we want to observe and ask. Any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll approve the stipulations. The next thing on the agenda is action on renewable energy resource credits. And Shauna?
We went ahead and put the information about these different exemptions in the front of the spreadsheets. And the renewable energy resource, basically the ones that we have are all geothermal. Am I correct, Diane? I mean, you can get it for other things, but basically all of these people put geothermal systems into their homes or businesses, and they get a $50,000 adjustment each year for 4 years.
So you keep track of that then?
We keep track of the years that they're in, and you can see that on the spreadsheet.
Okay.
And it's written on the cards also, so we know when they started and when they're done.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a
renewables.
motion to approve by Hatton, a second by Van Duzen. Any other questions? This is just to encourage the use of the geothermals. I participated in this a number of years ago, and it was very nice, very welcome. All right. Any other questions? Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next item then is agenda item number 6, action on various applications for assessment freeze programs. Shauna?
This one is basically an assessment freeze that if you're disabled, or most of these are the elderly, it takes your assessment back to the year you turn 65, the year you or your spouse turns 65. There are income guidelines and assessment guidelines, and those are all checked and filed in the treasurer's office, and then they send us down the list and we implement them.
And I hope you note that there are no names on these.
No, there is. They're swapped around. Just look under the disabled vet, and that's where those are, and the elderly is where your disabled vets are. Just look a little further. No. I guess mine did anyways.
Mine doesn't.
Nope. Well, I have it. I have an application.
Look at these Everybody's face is over here.
I have
Oh, man.
applications for.
You're not
free-
supposed to have names.
They're not supposed to have names.
No, there's no names.
No,
I just
but
mean,
her
mine,
spreadsheet
they're
must
just
be in the wrong
slots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just mine's. in
Mine's
the right
correct.
spot.
Oh,
It was just the assembly line process that,
okay, yeah.
So you know what they'll be doing this afternoon right after this is going through the evening books.
That being said,
Make a motion to approve
I have a motion by
those.
Hatton to approve,
I'll second that.
second by Gable. Okay? Any more discussion? Well, this is why we're doing this, but this is our dry run, right?
How many of those did we have? Do you know, Shauna, off the top of your head?
I
Looks like
am
there's-
not sure how many exactly, but
Quite a
I know
few.
the total reduction amounts for all of them are on the bottom.
Okay,
So it shows
6.5 million.
6.5 million.
6.5 million for the elderly. The renewable's 950,000.
All right.
We have a motion
Excellent.
and a
We have a
second.
motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Now we're going to go on to number 7, and that's the veterans exemptions. And that's in the same tab, right?
Mine
be-
was under the,
No, mine
green
doesn't. I
tab.
have
it's
it-
in
I
there,
have
just
it.
look at the top, it'll say veteran, disabled vet.
Yeah. mine's
Or
right.
you can
Mine
read the
is.
tab that
I'm
says
okay.
disabled veteran.
No, mine's,
Here's his back.
you just look on the top.
Oh, we got tabs.
You guys are loud.
I have tabs.
South Dakota codified law, it's in there, 4-40 and 41.
Yep.
You just have to know how to roll with it.
Okay, Shauna?
Okay, the disabled veteran tax exemption is any veteran that is 100% disabled. They get a $100,000 exemption on their property.
Wow, that's nice.
If their property is less than that, they have a zero balance. This exemption is for the disabled veteran and their surviving spouse, as long as they're alive.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Hatton to approve, a second by Gable. Any more discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign, motion carries. Let's go on to number 8, action on exempt. I always get dinged on this one.
I have no tax exempt.
I have them.
Oh, yeah.
Would you like mine?
Mine's
I
correct.
can wait till this afternoon. You can run one up to,
I don't.
all right. All right, thanks.
If you want to scan those, there's quite a list of them.
We have 2 different types of tax exempt, the ones that have to apply annually and then the ones that have to apply every 5 years. These ones are annual ones. Any of them that are in red are new ones this year. We added some development companies that the legislature changed it last year. They upped the limit that the development companies can take off exempts at 800,000, 750,000. So I know the Watertown Development Company uses it, South Shore Development Company, Henry Development Company.
Make a motion to
We have a
approve.
motion by Van Duzen to accept these,
I'll second that.
second by Gable. Any discussion?
And these are countywide, so we won't
Countywide.
address this tonight, this
Nope.
gets done at this level.
All of these are countywide and to be done by the county board.
All right, you've heard the motion, and a second, any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. None of our subjects have appeared, but let's go back to them anyway. We need to look at them. Even without them here, we'll do what we can. Shauna can fill us in. Let's go ahead with the Myers, okay? That's the first one in your book.
Yep. John Meyer, he is actually part of the local board, well, the town board for South Shore, but one of the other town board members did not make it to the meeting, so there's no quorum for them to act on it. And so this is his appeal, basically stating that excessive increase in absence of justification, properties adjacent to him drastically reduce his property value. And he's asking for a value of $42,500. and we had him at $49,777. And he was in the reappraisal area in South Shore. And we put together all the information on his property card, his appeal form. And then we put a spreadsheet together and then pictures following of all of the home sales that we have in South Shore and what they have been selling for.
So he wants it appraised about $7,000 from what we thought it was, right?
Correct.
Are there any questions on this property from any of the commissioners?
So, Mr. Chairman, just so so you're saying the property is directly adjacent to him, are the factor that he's concerned about?
Yes, that is
Okay.
what he wrote on his appeal form.
Okay.
So it was mostly off the structure is what the increase was because the land didn't make that much of a jump.
No, I don't think the land changed that much in
No,
South
it was
Shore.
1668 and then 1733 is what it is.
And the square foot price on your chart here, that's building square feet, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the total building square foot.
Okay.
We do not value on a per square foot basis, but it just kind of shows how things are selling in South Shore.
Are any of the properties that are on that comp list, are they adjacent?
There are not any right next to him, but they're all down and around him in South Shore on the south side.
Okay. I'd make a motion to accept the director.
We have a motion by
recommendation.
Gable to
Second.
accept the equalization director's recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Van Duzen. Any more discussion? Any more discussion on this property? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. It will remain as proposed by the equalization director. Let's go on to the next one. The next one is property by the Reeves, Merle, and Dana.
Yep, this is,
Oh, this is a split property here. Sorber and Reeves.
yep, it's the Reeve property, Devin Reeve, out by Medicine Lake. Right? This is the Medicine Lake one, yeah. And the issue with this one, his property went up about 26%, basically because there was that increase in the ag. However, Devin, I'm assuming he's not doing so well. Usually he comes in every year, but they did not apply for wetlands this year, and so their value went up more because of the fact that it came up from its wetland value last year. And if they would have applied for wetlands, the $42,000 value that they're asking for, it would have been like $41,000 something.
Is it?
But this one is a special property. The lake has taken over the road. So for many, many, many years, we had to go into the neighboring property just to get back to the house and the few buildings that they have back there. And we've put those, basically at storage value. We have a $700 value on the house and all the buildings total.
Oh, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So this, and do you know any information on why they didn't apply to renew that?
I'm not sure, because I know Devin is the one that did it every year, and that's the father. But I'm assuming he may be having health issues. I'm not sure. He usually comes in every year. We always talk about Medicine Lake and what used to be there, and I wasn't around at that time.
And the 42,000, let's see, and that's the
value he's asking for.
he's asking for. And then, so what value was it after their last application? Is that 52? That's the 50. I mean, say had they applied, or did they,
If they would
or say
have
for maybe
applied.
last year's evaluation is what I'm asking for.
That's on that sheet.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Well, that should be on that chart.
Okay, yeah.
But had they applied this year, it would have taken the land value down to $41,795.
I'm just wondering if the other ones are aware of that, if he's not able to do it.
They may or may not have, but I know he called, didn't he? He came in and the girl said, he knows now, but whether or not he was aware
Who?
at the time.
Who knows now?
The son.
Dana?
Dana's the son, yeah. And we've always worked with Devin, who is the dad, and that's all the assessment notices and tax bills get sent to him. He has always come in every year.
Is there another appeal process besides
There
this?
is an appeal process after this. They can appeal to the Office of Hearing Examiners in Pier, or they can appeal directly to circuit court.
Or the wetland determination, they
There's a
can't
deadline.
receive that.
There's a
there's a-
deadline to appeal, so what would
There's a
happen?
deadline, November 1st, they have to have applied for the wetland by then.
Listening, go ahead.
Good, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, listening to your explanation and probably an oversight somewhere along their point due to health, not to make it a big controversial issue, but I would say we'd make a motion to set it at 47.5.
Okay, and that's what it was.
40, so.
You say 52 or 42?
It was 41,
Set it at 40.
162, but what did you say if he would have applied?
If he would have applied, it would have went down to 41,795.
Yeah, 41,
Right, but he didn't apply.
right?
So split the difference here between high and low roughly.
I do know you guys are, it's a completely different board, but we have had a few different people come in. They were in the hospital, they had issues, but it's just more of a, if we let one go based on not making it because of extenuating circumstances, then we might be opening a can of worms on the deadline for that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I could think of that would happen, is other people would be upset about that.
And actually, there was a public notice.
Yes.
There was a public notice given, so, you know, there you go as far as covering us. Make it,
Covering you guys for that.
yeah.
If
it
you
had-
wanted to make a motion based on the fact that you can't make it because of the road, or lower it for a different reason besides the wetlands, I think that would be a better option to do.
But he certainly,
That's just my advice.
he certainly has the grounds. I've been on that property, and I know you have to drive. When I was there, they just dropped the fence, so I had to drive over the fence.
Yeah, we've had to walk. We've had to walk many.
I drove over the fence into the neighbor's property and around, and then back
Yeah,
in.
we had to stop at the fence and then walk all the way around.
Yeah.
For that reason, I would second Commissioner Waterman's motion then.
On what reason?
Because of the peculiarities
The
of the
access.
land, the access
Okay,
issues.
Do the access of the land rather than the
His motion
health
was...
issue.
Okay.
All right, so I'm not really clear on the motion. Let's clarify it. Are you clear?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
I don't either, because it's different than what it started out.
Yes.
So the value you're giving, are you talking about the buildings or just the land? That is also, they're two separate values, so we need to know,
I would do land
okay, all right.
due to the accessibility.
The buildings have not changed, have they? They were,
No, and they're valued at $700 for all of them together.
yeah.
Yeah, just the land.
Due to accessibility, okay.
Okay,
And you
and-
want to lower it to what?
47,200 is what you said?
47.5, does that, I was thinking of 47.5, but maybe I'm a little confused here. Is the ag 42? Is that what?
Yes.
The ag is at 42?
Our ag is at 51, he
51.
wants 42.
Right, and
And if he would have applied for wetlands, it would have been $41,795.
due to accessibility, I would make a motion to make that 45,000. Of tax, this is all confusing, but
I think I'm following you.
All right, so your motion is to lower the assessment on the land to 45,000.
on the land, yes.
Okay, you had a motion, and you had a second?
second it, yeah.
Were you, all right? Are we okay with doing it that way?
And then you'll leave the 700 for the building.
And the building assessment would stay the same.
So it'll be 45,700.
Okay?
Altogether, yeah.
And this is just for 1 year, is that correct? They have to apply next year again?
It's every year. Does everybody understand what the motion is in a second? Everybody clear on this now?
No. So the land, what is your motion on the land again?
45.
45,000.
45,000 ag evaluation on the
And
land,
on the buildings,
700.
700 would leave, okay.
And Shauna said 700 is what they're appraised at.
Yep.
And due to accessibility, they had to walk in to get in there.
Right.
And it's a 1-year thing, they have to apply for it again next year. That's why I'd make it that
Shauna,
figure.
when you spoke with Dana when he came in,
I didn't talk to him, but
did somebody spoke with Dana when he came in? Did he indicate that he didn't know about filing the deadline and?
the only one that is not here, the one covering the office, is the one that's out
Okay.
there.
Okay, all right.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Anything else?
Is there some way, like, and it's going over and above, but like in this situation, when it changes, is there any way of, I know it's in the paper, like to let them know or something that we don't have this happening maybe
I think
then?
we just did that. By not
It's
lowering
kind
it.
of hard because if you start,
Then you have to do them all, I
yeah,
suppose.
we don't like to give special treatment.
Right. I just didn't know if it'd be like a switch
Then-
where it's a different landowner or different.
Well, and it's not really a different landowner.
Because it's-
It's always gone, it's been going to this address
Family.
since 2010.
Okay.
So,
Then are we setting a precedent by adjusting this? That would be
setting
that would be my concern.
We have a reason for it, it's because of accessibility, and I think that if you drove out there, you'd understand, because you can't get to the building site without either going over the neighbor's fence or walking around. You can't get there.
yes, and that's because of the.
The water has inundated the road.
Completely.
Yeah.
It can't be captured by the soil typing. That's
No, not nothing like that, no.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We've had a lot of good discussion on this. Are you ready to vote? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. The motion carries. There we go. The last thing on the agenda then is to,
Can we adjourn, because this will be all that will be coming?
This is all that will be coming.
So I'll make
this-
a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second that?
A second by
Gable.
Lee.
I concur that you can.
Any discussion?
Just pick a number.
So, do we actually adjourn or do we just convene?
No, you're
No, you're
adjourning.
adjourning.
This is a county board,
Yeah.
so.
All right,
Let's take a vote.
all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries, we are adjourned. Thank you. And it's 6:30 tonight, and the City Hall.